Dutch. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. What's up, buddy?
What's good, guys?
How are you?
You know, we're trying to stay warm over here because it's freezing. You know, you haven't felt cold until you felt Sacramento.
Okay,
that's a lie. What do you got? Like a high of 58?
Nailed it. You kind of nailed it. That's it.
Literally, we're talking about snow warnings here. I saw salt on the sidewalk today.
Oh,
you don't even know what it is. I'm a West Coast kid, and the Pacific Northwest, we would get drizzly and, 48, 51, ooh, it's cold. No, listen, I'm not going to say that drizzling isn't worse, because it is worse than snow and sunny. But it's cold out here. It's very cold. Like, you need gloves, you need hats, you need salt on the roads.
Yeah, let's talk about the hard pass. But let's talk about the Pacific Northwest here, as I've been diving into episodes of the Heat Check. Yeah. Yeah. So how you feeling over the everything that's going on the last week with your Portland Trailblazers?
Well, first and foremost, I think everybody who has a brain knows that Neil Olshey should have been fired. Like, regardless of whether he was, how should we say, stuck in the 90s in terms of his communication techniques with his staff and the media around him, and how he uses media to wield narratives like he's Kevin Spacey from House of Cards. Outside of all of that, like, Neil Olshey botched one of the deepest drafts in history. Like, he botched it. Like, I don't
Can't relate at all.
Like, I know you guys have a special affinity to, like, hating a GM who passes on a guy like, I don't know, Luka Doncic or whatever. But
I thought you were going to say pass on Trae Young.
Yeah, that's all. Trae, I don't know, though. Like, do you think De'Aaron Fox and Trae, like, how do you think that they function together?
They would have figured it out.
I'm sure,
like Luka and Fox would have figured it out.
For sure. And now you got Fox rumors. Monty McNair doesn't like Fox, and he's on the way out. You guys probably talk about that all the time.
Those are stupid rumors.
So dumb. People are dumb.
Those are dumber than Dame leaving Portland.
That's a dumb rumor. Like, that's a dumb, optimistic rumor. But, like, I have wanted Neil gone for, like, as a person who wants the Portland Trailblazers to succeed, I've wanted him gone for years. After he drafted Zach Collins, when he moved up for Zach, and then he could have the rest of the organization wanted Donovan Mitchell. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, which he was sitting right there. Outside of that, you could have gotten John Collins at that spot. You could have gotten Bam Adebayo. You could have gotten OG Anunoby. There was a lot of guys who had been impactful to the roster, and instead you got a 7-foot white boy out of Gonzaga who's, like, slightly more athletic than Myers Leonard. And it's like, I'm not rocking with that whatsoever. And then on top of that, like, how he sees players was known as being very old school, right? Like, he loves CJ because CJ plays a very pretty game, regardless of, it's like a very 90s old school, like, smooth, the way he plays in motion, like, that was Neil's guy. And so I think it kept Neil's, we'll call it, like, credit mongering, kept him away from making hard decisions that were important for the team to move forward, to the point where we were all wondering, well, like, does Dame just not want CJ gone under no matter what? Like, is he just content to lose? And, like, no, I think truthfully, Dame obviously loves CJ and they're very, very close, but he wants to win. And now that Neil's gone, I hope that we can take steps forward. And now all the Chauncey news is obviously concerning too, like how these teams, how this roster functions with Chauncey, and whether Chauncey can get him to be disciplined, and whether the roster is actually good enough to do what Chauncey wants him to do.
Okay, Tristan.
It's very entanglement type stuff.
Oh, that's an entanglement for sure.
All right, Tristan. Look, one of the things that we love about you on here is you keep it a stack, even if it's about teams that you love, you support, Oregon Ducks, Portland Trailblazers, or teams that you don't like the low-key trash LA Rams. Me and Damien have been saying for a while, we're farther away from it. This thing in Portland is over. It's all over. And I mean over as in like Dame, not that it's his fault, but I said you should have moved him in the summer. Because like it's not gonna work. What you gonna do? Rebuild with Dame, who wants $250 million?
Well, and then what you have there is Dame like just plants. Like another thing that we don't really talk about nearly enough, because truthfully, it's fear, right? Like that there are certain media members who are embedded with GMs and embedded with agents, and they are breaking news as a quid pro quo of them basically creating a narrative around what these GMs and agents and coaches want them to say, and like want
coach
and want these news breakers to basically put out that may or may not be factual, right? Like the fact that piece came out that Dame has already asked for X amount of money in the offseason. He wants another 200 million, even though he just signed his extension last year and he's just starting the new 4-year deal now. And it's like, is that you that like, is that real, or is that just people in his ear and he's just Littlefinger from Game of Thrones manipulating the system to make it look like Dame needs to go? And like, if Dame wants 200 million, then maybe Dame's unreasonable and maybe Dame's the problem. And like, yes, maybe Dame's defense is the problem, but Dame's the only superstar that would ever stay in Portland. We just lucked up on Dame. And yeah, I don't think we're ever going to win anything. I don't see a situation unless we went to the lottery and got very lucky with a wing or something, which, like I said, back in 2016 or whatever that year was, when we could have had Donovan or we could have had Bam, like that would have been a year. And we just consistently trade first round picks away for guys like Robert Covington, who are just truthfully don't move the needle as well. Like that doesn't help you. But yeah, I think plants like Woj create a narrative that tries to set things into motion that shouldn't be in motion to try to get the intended result that they want, which is probably Dame gone. And Dame and Woj don't really mess around with one another based around things that Woj has done with other media members that, Dame is close with. Because if you don't kiss the ring and you don't source as a collective with him, then you're out and your job is at risk and your sources are at risk. And that's the way that it goes. So Dame, like me, keeps it a stack regardless. And people like that don't like that. So I'm okay with Dame staying and us being like somewhat mediocre if we try, because I love him and I think he's the best Blazer we've ever had. But if he's okay with trying as hard as we can and possibly never really making it past the Western Conference Finals, which I think is our ceiling based around luck, then that's fine. But
I don't think y'all are getting back there.
No, I mean, I think we already hit our ceiling.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the ceiling.
I don't think that's happening, Trysta.
No, the ceiling is in the past based on luck, right? Like, we shouldn't have even beat the Denver Nuggets to begin with. I think that we were down like 19 points in game 7 and had to have like this tremendous game from Evan Turner of all people.
CJ went crazy.
CJ McCollum went crazy as well. CJ should have been traded right then. Like that's when you trade CJ, not now when he has one lung. Like, no, like you can't. What are we going to do now? This franchise and prayers up to CJ, but like, I'm here for the comedy, and like you can't have reports about the franchise going downhill, trading CJ, that you find out CJ has one usable lung. Like we just can't have that, right? You just can't have that. That's the dark humor in me, right? Like that's a very Portland thing.
Yeah.
Would you guys like a Buddy Hield?
Oh, there you go. Let's work.
We could
work.
Do you think we could get like a Harrison and a Buddy?
No. For Dame, yes.
Marvin.
No, you don't need another guard. Be honest. Like you don't need 5 guards.
We'll give you a Buddy and a Marvin.
I don't want a Marvin. Damn. I would like a Rashawn Holmes though.
No, Trysta, stop it.
Just the best roller in the NBA last year, statistically, if anyone's keeping track.
Well, the funny thing about that is you bring up Rashawn Holmes, and that's the other part of the equation here of why I think it's just looking bleak in Portland. You might have to do some drastic things. Is the money you mentioned CJ, but Nurkic, like it's kind of proven. I have a thing here in Sacramento where in yours, Portland's on a grander scale because they've done more than the Kings have. But I look at like Fox, I throw Halliburton in there, Barnes, Buddy, Holmes, and Bagley. And I say, these are some good ball players individually. They can play. Collectively, they don't work. Yep. Like, you ain't got to get rid of all of them, but if you put these guys together, it's not working. And it seems like in Portland, CJ, Nurkic, Dame, good ball players. They've done some good things, but they've got a ceiling that you mentioned they've already reached. Is that kind of the feeling with those guys up there?
Yeah, I think you have to trade Nurk. I know that that's not a popular opinion because Nurk, when he came over in that trade with Denver, he lit up the scene to the point where it was like Linsanity, but it was Nurk sanity. You know what I mean? Like, and Dame loves him too. And I think there's been a level of like, well, if Dame loves him, they should stay. You know, if Dame's close, Dame loved Evan Turner. Like, everybody apparently loved Evan Turner. Like, Evan Turner was not a real piece. Like, people loved Kent Bazemore. Kent Bazemore should not be a piece, right? Like, so I don't think that's the barometer if you want to win, truthfully. Nurk's stock from a trade value standpoint will never be higher than it is right now, just because he's on an expiring, and this is the only center. He's the only center that's going to be available on free agencies that's of any value to anyone. It's DeAndre Ayton, who's probably going to get extended, like, God willing, I guess, and then Nurk. And now that Nurk has hired Rich Paul, like, you know what Rich Paul's about. He's about getting his guys either paid or leaving
traded.
them alone. Well, yeah, or leaving them alone like Nerlens as well, right? Like, or forgetting that they exist. So I think he's going to try to get Nurk paid. And I think Nurk's not, I don't think we should be paying Nurk. We're already in the luxury tax. Jody Allen, God bless her, right? Like, she's dealing with every estate that Paul Allen has ever had, including this franchise. Like, we're not top of mind. She's just paying people just to pay them, right? So, yeah, I think Nurk needs to go. I think CJ needs to go. I think Rocco needs to go. I think Anthony Simons needs to go. Nasir Little.
I'll take Anthony Simons.
Yeah, you can have him. We just need some things back, right? We just need some.
Buddy.
Bagley.
We've offered you Buddy and Bagley already.
You know that you're trying to fleece me. This is like, you guys are Danny Ainge right now. Like, you know what it is. I don't want those guys. Like, I like Buddy, but we have plenty of shooting. I need some defense.
Why do I feel like this is how conversations go with general managers? I got Buddy and Bagley, and the other general manager goes, I don't want those guys. I want Harrison. I want Rashawn Holmes. I don't want those other guys.
And they're like, okay, well, we want Dame. And it's like, well, this is like, just click. Like, this is.
We're not getting anywhere.
And it appears that we're not going to get Ben. And I'm like, no.
Are you disappointed about that or happy about it?
I don't know. I have no idea. At this point, I'm kind of like, well, we need defense. We're now 2 years running as the like, we'll call it historic levels of bad defense. Because I think last year's defense was the worst we've ever seen in league history, and we were the bottom of there. And I think it's a little bit better this year with the rule changes, but still we're at the bottom of the barrel. So we have no perimeter defense. Like, Dame, as much as I love Dame, he has no willingness to play perimeter defense. He just gets barbecue chicken cooked pretty much always. And then that puts pressure on the front court defensively as well. CJ, same thing. And then you've got Norm Powell, who's he's a plus defender, but you're putting him He's putting him at the 3. Now he's got to play larger guys. He's not that long. Like, he's an okay defender, but he'd be a much better defender as a 2. So we need somebody that can, like, help us defensively. And I guess that's Ben. I really would have loved, and this was the thing that really stuck in my
Tristan Thompson.
Did you guys see the report?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did you guys think about that report? Because I was sick.
We have a box over here to my left, and in the box are people like Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
What's the old boy from the Dodgers? We put him in the box.
Yeah.
You feel where I'm going? Yeah. I wanted to put Tristan Thompson in a box, and then he came out and had like 10 and 10, like, and he was dunking and picking up technicals, and it was like. So we've made the decision. We'll talk about Tristan Thompson, the basketball player. We won't acknowledge or praise anything else, and we'll just keep it moving. Because I'm with you. Trash.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. And I would have loved if we would have gotten Drew Holiday in that trade. Like, that came out as well. Truthfully, any Blazer fan knows that the reason that they got swept, the reason the Blazers got swept against the Pelicans was Drew. Like, Drew put Dame in prison. Drew turned Dame into Logo Lillard Dame.
Mm.
And I think, and even Dame has said, like, Drew's one of the best perimeter defenders, on-ball perimeter defenders in the league. And I know Drew's also undersized, but he's such a good defender. Like, I would love Davion. Can you guys give me Davion?
No.
Can I get him? Because I'd like him. He would help.
Look, there's a lot of people on the table if you're talking about Dame. But if you're taking Dame off the table, no.
There's no one you think about in Portland for Davion? Not your boy Anthony, not Robert Covington, you wouldn't think about that.
Boy, right there.
I think about it a little bit.
Anthony Simons is my boy right there.
This would warrant a further conversation. Like I'd listen. I'm not anxious to move Davion at all, but we need multiple
in the land.
No, nobody untouchable here.
Let me ask you guys this about tonight, because I was literally making some bets, and my heart says Charlotte. My heart says Charlotte +1, but you guys are deep in it. Sacramento Kings riding a hot streak. Push me against taking Charlotte on the money line.
I would never bet on the Kings.
Yeah. Would you take the over 231? Both teams don't play defense.
I would.
Yeah. I'd take it. The only thing is, like 6 people are missing from Charlotte.
No, and they're still balling. They're still putting up buckets.
Well, they lost another guy who was giving them buckets. PJ. Well, he's doubtful. PJ Washington. So they're down to like 6 players in general. Look. This is how I feel about this Kings team. I would just never bet on them.
I wouldn't touch it.
You never know what you're getting. There is nothing reliable about them, good or bad.
Every Kings fan listening right now is thinking they might lose by 20.
Yep. Or they might win by 20.
Yeah.
Like they put 145 on Orlando. Not saying Orlando's a world beater by any means, but like
Kendrick Perkins said we're playing phenomenal basketball right now.
Okay, so stay away. Stay away.
There it is. Trysta, we appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us as always.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.